All right. Welcome everyone to a new episode of Rocket Lab Weekly. This is episode 125. Can't believe it's been so many weeks.
Yeah.
And we have some OGs with us today. We have Matt Money from US and we have Dave G Investing from Canada. And before the show, we were just catching up on the world events. And I asked Dave, I saw a Canadian guy putting a chainsaw to his TV when Canada lost the gold, and I just made sure that it was not Dave, and he confirmed that that was not his reaction.
Yeah, my TV is still intact, luckily.
So. Intact.
Yeah. Cool. So you're not this. You're into hockey, but you're not this. Like your whole identity is wrapped in.
No, I mean, you know what? I love hockey. It's a fun game. I actually play hockey weekly, and really into it when Canada plays. It was fun to watch, and if one country won every single time, it would be boring. If Canada won every Olympics, I wouldn't even watch because it would just be So
it's normal match.
Yeah.
So you're saying this was like 4D chess from Canada? They're like, okay, we let the US have this one, and then we beat them the next 9 times. So.
No. I mean, although to be fair, it has been quite a long time since the Americans won a gold for hockey. So all the people gloating, just remember that. It's been quite a while.
Okay, cool. So how are you guys doing this week? How are your portfolios? And it's been I think it's funny. Not funny. Sorry, it's a somber topic. But the U.S. attacked Iran on Friday night or Saturday morning.
Yeah, one of the two.
Saturday morning for me, I think. And so the craziness of this week, we don't actually fully know the outcome of that. So Monday we might get a big surprise. So how are you guys doing against this backdrop?
By the way, sorry, I was just looking at Francisco's comment and he's like, did no one send me the memo on the cool glasses that I was supposed to wear or something? We got the colored shades going on.
So, I'm just trying to be like Vince.
Okay.
So it's so funny. I ordered blue light blocking glasses because I'm having trouble with sleep, and for Christmas I got this Aura ring which tracks your sleep very nicely. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that every time when I work late on my laptop, I can't go to sleep for 2-3 hours later. So I'm up in my bed until 2 a.m. and turning. And then I researched and I came up with these glasses. And then the next day I turn on Rocket Lab Weekly and Matt is like, I'm trying out these blue light blocking glasses. And I commented I bought it before, just so you know, I'm not copying you. I bought it before I saw the show. So it's like a medical, yeah.
I see. All right. Well, maybe I'll pick up a pair for next week.
Yeah.
My portfolio is doing okay. I mean, obviously Rocket Labs had a bit of a pullback, but not complaining after the run. And especially as you look at, I think I checked out your guys' live stream and you mentioned the shares outstanding did jump a fair bit, so it kind of makes sense that there was a pullback from that point of view as well. And the rest of the portfolio is doing pretty well. I've done some shopping unrelated to space. I've been buying some Microsoft, Amazon, a few other kind of more standard names. It just seems like there's been a bit of a sale now on some companies.
So you're buying into the SaaS apocalypse. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, some companies I think will be disrupted. I think Microsoft is going to be around for a long time. I like Satya, their CEO, and it just looks pretty cheap to me.
Awesome. Yeah, we're very far. I've been doing some AI courses, and we're very far from AI replacing. I was just telling Matt how I'm was making this thumbnail, and the Google Nano Banana is simultaneously the most amazing and the dumbest program ever. Mm-hmm. And and I actually vibe coded. I tried to vibe code an app for my company, and then it's I gave it the command, and then it did 90% of what I wanted. But then to get to the 100%, I need to be able to code and do the different changes, and and I can't code. So it's like all this people who are like, yeah, you can just like make your apps now on websites, and it's like it's kind of true, but not really. Like you can go 90%, but to finish the 10%, you actually need to know what you're doing.
Yeah. I was playing around with OpenClaw a few weeks ago, like still kind of use it. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It was kind of all the rage for a while. Still kind of is, but it can do some pretty cool things as well. So I think AI is for real. All these people saying, oh, they're spending too much money on the AI build out and stuff when it comes to, Microsoft and all them. I'm happily buying the dip there. So
yeah, I think I've been messing around with Replit, which is kind of comparable to like OpenClaw a little bit. I mean, I don't think it has as much freedoms. I think it's mostly centered around coding and building applications and websites, etc. But it's definitely made me more bullish. I've been able to I've spent like $250 creating an application that I might make public actually for people.
Oh, nice.
But I'll send it to you guys as well and get your feedback after the show. But it's definitely made me understand the AI build out a little bit more as to why people are using these things. And people are like, I can understand where some people are like, will it replace some things? Yeah, super menial, like lower, like repetitive tasks, I think are going to be very much easy to be making an agent to do some of those things. But at the same time, it's made me extremely productive. Like it's inspired me to do more work. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to create something like this. So it's like it's creating value in places where people might not have been able to create value before. So anyway, it's interesting, and I'm bullish on it as well. But in terms of the market, continuing to buy. I have more purchase power coming in tomorrow. Bought some Amazon on Friday. What else did I buy on Friday? I got something else, but yeah, as a normal typical buys as the first of the month kind of comes around. Normal purchases, and yeah, portfolio overall I think is down. Let me just pull it up really quick. Is down obviously, but we're probably down.
3 houses and a boat.
It's a lot of money, 15%. So 15% ends up being a good chunk of the portfolio. But yeah, that is what it is, and cautiously optimistic that in 10 years time I'll be wishing that I bought more shares of a lot of these companies, Amazon, etc. So people try to pinprick, is it the right time to buy within this 3-month window? I look at it like 10 years time from now when I'm purchasing this company, probably still buying shares. I'll be like, wow, remember when I was buying shares at 100 or 200 or $300, and we're buying shares at 1,000 or whatever, or it's split 2 to 1 or 3 to 1 by that point. So,
how about you, Vince? Any trades?
I am a happy holder of Rocket Lab, but I'm very down in the last few months. I even try to not look at my portfolio. Like I'm not scared at all.
Yeah.
And I'm very much currently working on increasing my income so I can, be more like Matt and you, and buy stocks more regularly. Have dry powder on the side. So happy. I mean, after the last earnings, so now that we go more into Rocket Lab, like I was really, really happy with the earnings. I don't know what you guys thought, and I think maybe we could go like, thoughts on the earnings, and then I have some news, and then we could go maybe like more into detail in the end again into the earnings. The only like red flag for me was the share count. Like the dilution of the shares jumped like quite a lot this year. Like I think we went from 500 million shares outstanding to something like 600 something million. So that's like an almost 20% dilution, which is very high for a year. And I mean, I think that the Neutron delay sounds a lot worse than what it is, because we, like all of us, were thinking that Neutron was going to come in Q2 or Q3. I think most of us was thinking Q3, and it got moved to Q4. And it sounds so official when you say Neutron is moved to Q4, but it's like 3 months.
Yeah, I guess so. I was thinking about my reaction a little bit more because I was a little down in the live stream, but like now that I think about it, I was already expecting Neutron to launch in Q3. So then I see Q4 and it's a couple months, and like that doesn't seem like that big a deal. I guess where I was down is that in my head, I just always add a little bit of a delay to whatever the official guidance is, because as Peter says, it's a rocket program. So when I hear Q4, I start thinking 2027. So I guess that's the only thing that concerns me. And, you know, to be fair, we have seen the target date pushed a few times. So
I think it's,
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's all right. I was just going to say, if it is Q4, I'm completely happy. But I just worry about it being, you know, not hitting that date.
No, 100%. I completely align with the fact of like disappointment, right? Like nobody wants to hear, like we all want to see this thing get lit, right? So it's not like it's something that we're celebrating. So I completely understand that initial, you know, gut reaction of damn, you know, cue the Kevin Hart, damn. But anyway, my thought process was that this earnings call really allowed me to gain a lot of comfort. Because if you looked at that slide that showed, it's like, yes, the stage one, unfortunately, there's the delay, but every other piece has been qualified. And so if that actually does come out well, then, you know, that means that number 2, number 3, number 4 launches really won't be impacted too much. And they can literally go into mass production of whatever or how many they think they need and get up to speed. So it's like, yes, in the short term, it might matter, like the 12-month window, but will the 3-year window really change as much? Will we still have launched as many vehicles? And the answer is probably likely. The only thing that I think is still under qualification is the engine, technically still stage 1. And then even the thrust structure has been qualified from what they stated on the call. So it's like
I think there might still be more work on the canards and stuff like that too, if I remember. I'd have to look at it. Maybe we can pull up that slide, but
yeah, I mean the majority of it was really good. And so it's like, other than the integration test, which maybe they find out some more stuff, but for now it seems like things are heading in the right direction. And it's also nice to hear and get clarity that, because I heard, I don't know if you were in this boat as well, Dave, but on the call, I was like, everybody kept telling me, no, it's not third party. Yes, it's third party. No, it's not third party. And so I kept getting dragged to the point where I was like, I didn't even realize it was a third party item. Then I realized that it was, and then somebody told me that they convinced me again that it wasn't. So I kept flip-flopping. Now to be verified, it is third party. It's going to be used and created by a completely different machine, which eliminates that defect that was in the previous. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be qualified, but at least means that they're already up and running on a new version of the tank that could completely eliminate that defect. So fingers crossed that when they go to qualified, it passes with flying colors.
Yeah, I mean, I was fairly confident that it was made by a third party, and that was really the hope, was that it was something to do with how the third party made it, as opposed to anything design related. So the fact that it wasn't a design problem was a big win, and the fact that just using Rocket Lab's machine that they already bought and were commissioning will fix that problem, I think, is a big win. Sounds like they are going to make a few little tweaks, though. And thought it was interesting. I don't know if you guys remember, Scott Manley mentioned in his video a while before earnings, he said basically what turned out to be completely true. It was made by a third party, and there was some issues with that. And nobody could verify it, but I think apparently he was right on. So maybe he spoke to someone at the Astro Awards or knows people or whatever. So I thought that was interesting, and maybe a tidbit worth remembering, that he can be a pretty reliable source at times.
Yeah, I must say I was very surprised that it was third party. When I heard first that it's like a third party manufacturer, I was like, why the hell would Rocket Lab take in a third party manufacturer when they have the AFP machine? They have the New Zealand is like specialist on working with carbon fiber. They took over this other New Zealand, and I'm like, why the heck would they? I was like, this must be fake news. And I'm very surprised that it turned out to be correct. And
sounds like a scheduling decision to try and speed up
Yeah.
when they'll be ready more than anything else.
Try
Yeah,
to shave off like 2 or 3 months. It sounds like,
Yeah.
because I think like if you just saw the interstates just came out of the facility, so it's like they might have just been able to just get started. I mean, not just get started, but we've now seen the pictures coming out of Maryland that, you know, the interstate is there, so now they might have just been able to get working on it, right? And the like kind of pre-mold maybe. So maybe that was it. Like they were able to potentially get it qualified and get it ready to go to the pad by the end of 1Q had it passed. And now, unfortunately, because they had to basically create it from zero again with the AFP machine, they're just getting to the point where they're starting it. So not just, but.
So, by the way, on this Neutron delay, I just want to play a clip that Peter Beck said on the Q3 earnings call. And just let's see what we think about the delay after listening to this. So let me know if there is sound.
Basically, every new space company except Rocket Lab and SpaceX has failed to build an orbital rocket that is scaled to any kind of launch cadence and is reliable. Now, this is the Rocket Lab process in action, and I've been resolute about sticking to this approach. Now, with all the hardware in front of us now and significant testing programs underway across all parts of the vehicle, we can see we need a little bit more time to retire the risks and stick to the Rocket Lab process. Yep, it might mean things will take a little bit longer, but I want to give some context here. I mean, the labor cost for the program is about $15 a quarter, which we make back 4 times, you know, over a single launch anyway. So it makes 0 sense to change what we know and what is proven to work. So we're aiming to get to Neutron to the pad in Q1 next year, if all goes well, with the first launch thereafter. Once again, though, that's provided that myself and the team are confident we have completed Neutron's qual testing and acceptance testing program to the Rocket Lab standard. As always, this is a rocket program, so that's been completed at a pace and a cost that nobody has achieved before, and the financial and long-term impacts are insignificant to take a little bit more time to get it right. Now, we've set high expectations for Neutron's first flight. Our aim is to make it to orbit on the first try. You won't see us minimizing some qualifier about us just clearing the pad and claiming success and whatnot. And that means that we don't want to learn something during Neutron's first flight that could be learned on the ground during the testing phase. Excuse me. At the end of the day, Neutron will fly when we're very confident it's ready, and we're not going to break the mold of the Rocket Lab magic.
So I just want to say the backdrop that in the last few interviews and earnings calls, like they have been talking a lot about, you know, Rocket Lab culture, and they're really like, when we asked Sir Peter Beck, like, what are you worried about? And he's like, yeah, it's preserving the culture at Rocket Lab, and how do we scale and still keep the same culture? And then the other backdrop is that he said here in the Q3 earnings call that there is no other companies other than SpaceX and Rocket Lab who has achieved orbital launch at cadence and reliably. And in the Q4 earnings, they said that there was no other company that in 2025 that successfully launched a small launch rocket. And so if you look against this backdrop, that he's basically sticking to the culture, and he much rather waits to make sure that we don't learn anything during the first flight that could have been learned on the ground, which I'm so happy for because it's so much cheaper, even though it results in delays. I'm so happy that tank failed on the ground and not during first flight. I think it's a very lucky incident. So I kind of feel like he's doing the right thing, and I give him the benefit of the doubt. And I'm like, okay, if you feel that you need this, okay, because it's true. There has been over 100 startups that try to make orbital rockets, and there's only 2 who, you know, achieved reliability and cadence. And I'm like, okay, that's a really special thing that you managed to reach it. And yeah, maybe you should do it how you did before, you know?
Yeah. Wonder why ULA isn't included in there. I guess just maybe something with how it was made with Boeing and Lockheed. But I think he's 100% doing the right thing. I guess it can just be simultaneously true that I think he's doing the right thing. And, you know, I just am impatient and really want to see it. So yeah.
I mean, amen. Me too. I was like, when we were going through the earnings, I'm like, where's Neutron? I want to see the Neutron news. And it's like, but also, if you take out the Neutron, like take out Neutron, memory hold it, like how was the earnings otherwise? I mean, it was record margins, record sales, backlog up. I mean, it's a fantastic company, no?
Yeah. I mean, backlog was expected because we saw the SDA contract. I thought the number of Electron launches signed in the quarter is very bullish when you look at like the book to bill for the year. So they launched 21, they signed 30 plus. So that's very bullish for continued Electron growth in the future. I mean, Space Systems chugging along, Q4 a little bit weaker mix, but everything, the current business is looking really good. I'm, very happy with how Electron's going. I guess the one thing is I would have liked to see maybe a little bit more of an aggressive guide for next year when they talk about the percentage of the backlog being realized and stuff when you calculate what kind of growth we're looking at. But I'm quite sure they're pretty conservative on that, and there's probably some room for upward movement on that one.
I love that you mentioned that, because if you do that calculation, like the growth comes out to be, what was it, like 13% or 14%, but like less than 20%, right?
Yeah.
But
sorry, I was just going to say, even though that's kind of what they said for the percentage of backlog realized, I still feel like 20%, because there may be some stuff signed during the year that they realize, and then if Monera closes, that's not part of the current backlog. If there's more acquisitions, that's not part of the backlog. And then I do think they're being conservative, and they'll probably beat that number that they mentioned.
Yeah, and we were also talking about this on the earnings call, and we realized that just their guidance, like they're guiding for almost 200 million in Q1 2026. And if you look at the Q1 2025, so 1 year ago, it was like 100 and I have to look up the exact number, but when you calculate it, it's like more than 40% growth between Q1 and Q1 2026. And they did say that there is other things coming, like that is not in the backlog yet, that they think they will be able to deliver. So I think you can't look at that statement, how much of the backlog they're going to use as their guidance, because already like they're smashing it in Q1. So like that is, but I also noticed what you said when I was looking at it. I was like, this is like a
maybe it's kind of a ballpark. Like it won't be like that, it'll be higher than that. But at the same time, if you look at previous quarters when they use that language in like, the coming 12 months, we'll realize X% of the backlog. And I was watching your video because Scott went over this really well, talking about, okay, so they beat that by 9%, 8%, whatever. But I don't think they're going to like double or like be massively larger.
Mm-hmm. So I think the number was like 680 million or something like that was kind of if they used that number, I forget what it was. It was something around there. And I'm with you. So, I mean, what I can kind of think, and this is just, that is, as you stated very, very clearly, Dave, what is currently in the backlog that will be realized, right? But they have the opportunity to sell additional launches, sell additional, satellite systems, and those sorts of things. You get prepayments associated with that. So, and like you also stated very well, Vince, I mean, Mynaric's not included in that. So I'm still cautiously optimistic that we'll get to a $200 million a year quarterly run rate. $200 million quarterly run rate, which will be over $800 million a year. I wouldn't be surprised if we get to 850 for the year. And that obviously is way more than kind of what they stated in terms of the RPO recognition. But I think a clear point of what you stated, Vince, last quarter, a year ago quarter, for a first quarter was 122.6 million. And so if they get to 195 million, that's close to 59% increase. So very good in that respect. So Shout out to our girl Dookie Pie coming in.
All right, so yeah, I see quite a lot of comments about Iran and its war, and like the stock market is effed. So I don't know if maybe we can comment on that before we continue. How do you guys think the market is going to react, given the backdrop that Bitcoin seems quite stable, that's open even now, and yeah, what do you guys think?
I think the reaction is not going to be massive unless we get some sort of huge escalation, I would guess. But yeah, that's just kind of my vibe, I guess.
Yeah.
This is hard to say. We just saw a HASTE launch that was being used potential for defense, right? And I think that it's very timely to start getting some of these tests out there, not just for American defense, but also Australian, UK, American ally defense, Canada even as well, to be, having that protection when it comes to Golden Dome, and all those sorts of future contracts. Like, to me, it's not about offensive warfare; it's about defensive and protecting ourselves. And I think Rocket Lab's a very big key piece in that. So to me, I think that there's definitely room for Rocket Lab to continue to grow into that space. It seems like with Pete Hegseth coming and having that Department of War visit, that's definitely down the path that I think Rocket Lab wants to go down. So I don't know. In terms of what's going on with the conflict in the Middle East, I think for now, I'm not an expert by any means on geopolitics, but I think it'll be short-lived. But who knows? It could be an ongoing thing that could last decades. These sorts of things are very unpredictable. So I don't know. Cautiously optimistic that HASTE will continue to be a very good platform to continue to build off of in 2026, and yeah, keep the homeland safe.
Yeah. I mean, I can just say it's one of those days when I could see Rocket Lab both be up and down, because it's like if it would be up, I would not be surprised because it's a defense stock. And I do believe that, as you guys also pointed out, that like the war can actually speed up the defense spending. And, like maybe some people are like, we need to get hypersonic testing going faster. We need to have more national security launches. Maybe the Golden Dome will be speeded up. If Rocket Lab falls on Monday, after I believe really good earnings and this news, I would be buying if I had dry powder, I think. Okay.
I'm trying to remember if I bought on Friday or if I'm buying tomorrow. Let me see.
Humble brag.
I guess I bought on Friday.
Cool.
If it drops, I'll buy my normal purchase.
Cool. So, okay, so we agree that, we all see that the backlog could be a potential problem, like meaning a weak guidance. And I don't know if I told you, Dave, or saw in the messages, like Muriel did answer me, so we might get an interview with yeah. So okay. we see what happens, and maybe we could ask how we should think with the guide. Like, if you take the 37% of this, you get this number. Like, is that your guide, or?
Well, Adam did kind of address that a little bit in the Q&A section, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and so aside from the numbers, aside from the backlog, we had gross margin numbers. We had all kinds of numbers, and I just wanted to. I found this actually as I was preparing for the show. I don't know if you saw this, Dave, because we talked a little bit about the average sale price of Electron, and when I was reading this, I'm like, am I reading it backwards? And if you guys read it, so 4 years ended December 31, 2025, 2024, 2023. Our revenue per launch was 8.5 million, 7.8 million, 7.1 million. So every year, the average sales price of Electron was increasing. Meanwhile, the cost per launch was 4.8 million, 5.7 million, and 7 million. So meaning when they were earning 7.1 million, like 3 years ago, or like in 2023, it cost them 7 million to make a launch, and they only earned 7.1 million. In 2024, the cost of launch went down to 5.7, while sales price increased to 7.4 million. And in 2025, the cost went down to 4.8 million, while they were earning 8.5 million. And I like the way that this is going.
Yeah, for sure. I think this goes to show why Adam's been talking about cadence for years and the importance of it. Like, it looks backwards when you look at it at first, but then you think about it and you're like, okay, well, yes, now they have 21 launches that they're dividing the cost of the launch infrastructure across instead of 10 launches or something. Therefore, the cost for each launch is a lot less. So the more launches we have, the lower the cost per launch is going to be.
Yeah.
I think the max margin that they were kind of stating, it kind of gets maximized at like 5 or 6 launches, I believe. That's what Adam said. I haven't heard him talk about it in a few quarters, but I think that's what he said is kind of the maximum, not maximum cadence, but the maximum benefit that you get from cadence on the margins. So if they get like, let's say 10 in a quarter or something like that, I wouldn't expect margins to jump north of 60% or something like that. It seems like that 4 million, 4.8 million might be, you said it was 4.8, Vince, most recent?
Yeah.
So that 4.8 might be the bottom point. So anything above that, might be bread and butter.
It's getting close to 50%. It's really good. It's really, really good. All right. So I think we can maybe go over a little bit the news of the week. And I have for you guys the fail of the week. I don't know if you if you saw this. So let me know if there is sound.
Rocket Lab, mostly flat on the year, but the last 52 weeks, I mean, significant outperformer, to almost 240% higher here. Walk us through this thesis.
Yeah, so Rocket Lab came on my radar as this stock typically makes what's called this small launch vehicle, or it's the most frequently used launch rocket that the U.S. has been using. And they use these autonomous missiles and different things like that.
So autonomous missiles in Rocket Lab, you guys heard it here first.
Yeah, I saw that one. I was laughing and shaking my head, thinking like, you watch these shows on TV and you just assume the person who looks very put together and knows what they're talking about, but they may actually have no idea. And it turns out that random disheveled looking guy on YouTube might actually know more about some of these things.
Exactly.
No, I mean, I made a mistake of calling in a missile once or twice, so I can't fault him too much.
What are you talking about? You have been talking about Rocket Mortgage this so many years.
Yeah, I thought this isn't a mortgage company. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. And a few days ago, what are we talking about? A day ago, we had a successful HASTE launch, which was the 4th HASTE launch in just 6 months, which is a really nice increase in cadence. Yeah, so I think this is the 4th launch this year or 3rd launch. Scotto is not here. He's our launch tracker.
I think.
3rd, yeah. So we have a bit more to go to reach highest ever launches. It looks like the Q1 is going to be a bit slow because it's we only have March left. So we see how they end. Then let me see what I have here. Yeah, I mean, after earnings, yeah, Matt?
I was going to say, I think they made it seem like that in the next couple of days, there'll be another launch, but I know some folks, I think, saw that there was already the upcoming mission on this. I think it might have been in Francisco that saw that there was an upcoming mission specifically around an Electron on, not Wallops.
Mahia.
Yeah, Mejia. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too worried. I mean, yeah, it's only 3 launches, but the start of the year usually seems to be slower. And you look at the backlog, and it's certainly supportive of continued growth. So I don't think it's time to start panicking yet.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, since they did they did 3 launches within like 5 days, and then before that they did like 2 launches on 2 hemisphere within 24 hours. Since then, I'm like, it's almost pointless to track launches, because it's like they can do 0 launches for like 2 months, and then they can do like 6 in a week if they want to, you know, like so I'm like, yeah, I really understand what Adam Spice was saying, that it just depends on customer readiness, and when they come in with their things, they will launch them, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like the next launch will be for Synspective, but no labeled date.
Yeah, but that's not a knife. Pretty cool mission. First time we've actually had a live stream of a HASTE mission, which was nice to see. And I saw some people confused. They're like, wait, was it successful? Was it not? Because, you know, the customer has them cut off certain segments. There's no second stage separation and all that kind of stuff. And people confused. But yeah, it was a success, and it was exciting to watch. Very cool vehicle.
Yeah, appreciate they were able to launch it. I wasn't sure because they kept mentioning it on social media. I was like, is there actually going to be a live stream? So I was actually surprised. I unfortunately couldn't make to do a co-stream with it, but I was actually surprised to watch the live stream actually happening, because I was like, wow, yeah, first HASTE launched live, right? Normally we get a picture after the fact or something like that, but yeah, very cool that we're actually able to get a piece, and understandable that they don't want to talk about the stage separation or show it live.
Yeah. I watched the live stream, like the replay of the live stream a little bit, and they actually showed parts of the vehicle, and the engineers talked about like how it works, and it was very interesting. They said that they want to test at Mach 12, which is 12 times the speed of sound, but it's currently science fiction because the vehicle like burns up in the atmosphere, and they currently don't know how to solve it. So this test was at Mach 7, and then what I understood is like they're trying to focus in on one problem and have that fail, and then come up with a solution, test again, and then they try to go to Mach 8, Mach 9, and yeah. So it was very interesting. It sounded very bullish for a lot of launches. Let's put it this way. It wasn't like we want to go at 12 Mach and then we reach it on this test and we just confirm that it's good. It was like, we will do a lot of launches.
Yeah.
So,
and people talk about strato launch and stuff like that, and worrying about, because they have like a reusable plane type deal. But I don't think they can get up to those speeds. I would have to look it up, but I don't think they can quite achieve the kind of speeds that we're talking here with Electron.
Yeah. I mean, considering the fact that this plane, like the engineering problem was already that it would be burning up, I'm not sure how like a bigger plane, who, you know, like how it would not have even worse with more friction. Yeah. Cool. Just wanted to show after the earnings, the analyst price targets were raised. So it wasn't just, or many of them were raised or, you know, kept the same. So it wasn't just us who thought that the earnings was good. It looks like the analyst also thought it. Yeah, I don't know how you guys pay attention to this, but it's nice to see for me.
Yeah, I like to see it.
I think the short-term price reaction, there was some selling off, of course, but towards the end of the day, seems like it recovered a decent bit. I wouldn't be surprised if it's people that are super focused on trading the stock, maybe for quick rebounds or something like that, just selling out, recognizing that, hey, there's probably not going to be a launch in the second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. It might be when it happens. And so to me, it's probably the short-term minded individual that's not thinking 24, 36, or even 120 months from now, that is probably selling. So To me, it didn't make a difference. I was very inspired by the call. A lot of answers about the future potential about space systems, solar, etc., continued to come to light, and excited when we finally get that answer about what Flatellite will do. But I think we need to get over the hump of Neutron before we start focusing on Flatellite long-term sales.
Yeah.
Are we planning to circle back to some of the announcements on earnings day, like the solar and that kind of stuff, or?
We can. I think we go through the news.
Okay.
And then we circle back to it. Cool. So another very interesting news: Mars End-to-End Communication Service Architecture Study was awarded to Rocket Lab. It's not a big dollar amount contract. It's only $390,000, but it's very interesting that it was awarded to Rocket Lab. Nonetheless, do you guys think it's a sign of what's to come in the future? I read somewhere that this can also be maybe a contention point later, that it was like, why was Rocket Lab awarded this and then awarded the Mars orbiter mission?
Yeah, I think it's a great sign. Like, you know, why would Rocket Lab be the only, like, the dollar amount, you know, doesn't matter at all really, but why Rocket Lab is the only one to get this study contract and not any of these other companies interested, like Blue Origin and the rest? I don't know the answer to that, but I mean, I feel like it can only be good. But like you said, I was reading Eric Berger's article, and he was saying some industry insiders think that should Rocket Lab win it, some of the competition will come back, point to this and say it was not a fair competition because Rocket Lab got this study contract and they didn't. And then that could delay the whole process a few months. So good and bad potentially, but I would say it's a net positive.
Yeah, I mean, it's only been a week, right? So who's to say that other people won't get awarded either? Some sort of, and I don't know the answer. I don't know if this is a solo one-off. But shout out my boy Erwin for keeping tabs on the PDFs that are floating out there and awards that are being put out.
Yeah,
I don't know how
this
people
and Rocket Lab saying we are the Mars company now, I was like, okay, I'm feeling pretty good about this.
Yeah. I don't know how people do, like like also this Tran guy, like he can like screenshot things that was like mistakenly released by NASA and was like on the website for like 2 hours, and then he like still posted on Twitter, and it's like going around, and I'm like, is he like a bot that is like just sitting at the computer, refresh, or like how does he do it?
No, I think
it's
you
amazing.
can set up notifications for like the sam.gov website where they post contracts. I keep meaning to do that, and I'm sure I will one of these days, but he's probably got something like that going on.
So like, can you set up notification, like if Rocket Lab gets a contract, then notify me? Or
I think you can, yeah.
Oh wow, okay, so I'm just too low tech. Okay, that's awesome. Cool. And the next piece of news is the Mars telecommunication orbiter changed name to Mars Telecommunication Network, and apparently there will be a new request for a proposal, and instead of like one vehicle, it's going to be instead of one satellite, it's going to be like an architecture of satellites. I don't know how this changes. Like this, to me, it feels like then Rocket Lab is more likely to win the MTO, because then it's just one satellite. And then I know we should do a poll, but I think Blue Origin is going to sue anyway. But then, you know, they can be told that, yeah, but this was just the first one, and you guys can win number 2 or number 3. So yeah, what do you guys think about this one?
I think the more spacecraft we send to Mars, the better. I mean, for Rocket Lab, for the space industry, for everyone. So I think it's exciting. It makes a lot of sense that it's not just one bespoke satellite out there, and you have a network, especially as you get more infrastructure on the ground and potentially more work for Rocket Lab. So I think it's a good change.
Yeah. I mean, you'll need a network of things, right? Because if you're sending items back and forth to Earth, right? If depending on where you're positioned, you might not have the ability to have have communications on 24/7 if you're on the opposite side of, say, Mars. So, facing the Earth, right? So you need to have multiple that you can then have triangulation and kind of relay communications, if that makes sense. So you definitely need a network, and I've always recognized that it's going to be multiple satellites, not just one.
The other thing is, if you're investing in a bunch of communication satellites to go around Mars, you would think that maybe makes it more likely that they're going to start investing more in Mars and doing stuff there, because having communication satellites with nothing on the ground, with no science being done, doesn't make sense. So hopefully there's more to come there.
Very good point. And then also in the reverse, if you send more vehicles and assets to Mars and you have one telecommunication orbiter, like what if that fails? Because we already have like the current one failed, and the other one that took over the place, I believe, is too old. So let's say Rocket Lab makes an orbiter and then it gets hit by a meteor or I don't know what in space, then you lose communication with billions of dollars of assets. Like that can't happen.
Yeah.
An engineering question that just came to me when we were speaking about, like, what if the satellite is on the backside of Mars and can't directly communicate with Earth? But what if Mars is on the other side of the sun? So you have like Earth, the sun, and then Mars. Don't you need like then an asset that is like in like, how do you call it, that you can triangulate? So like it's on Earth, or like maybe on a Lagrange point with Earth. So it's like moving with Earth, but on another.
I think the amount of time where Earth would be directly behind the sun, where the sun is between Earth and Mars, is probably pretty minimal, I would imagine.
Yeah. Okay. Because it happens like every 2 years, right? Like the like they go around each other. So like, but I like maybe that period is just a week or something. I don't know. But yeah, not significant enough to. Yeah, I think you can ask SPB that question. Yeah, we could when it comes. Okay, cool. So next one is really interesting. So it looks like there is a Senate bill being introduced to limit NASA from giving more than 50% of the launch services to one provider, which would basically make sure that SpaceX cannot dominate the small launch providers, like the smaller companies. Yeah. I think that's potentially very, very good for Rocket Lab. I don't think logically anybody argue. It feels like a bipartisan. I don't see like who would oppose this. I saw somebody wrote that maybe for national security, because they're currently, you can't really go around the Falcon 9 until there is other reliable rockets like Neutron ready. So maybe there will be an exception on that until 2027.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it, like NASA's not launching that much stuff right now. And
True.
Falcon 9, sends even Cygnus resupply capsules to the ISS. All the Crew Dragon have to be Falcon 9. So I think this is great for the future and good for Rocket Lab and others. But I do think there's going to have to be exceptions over the short term.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking? Because SpaceX launched like 150 times last year, something like this, right?
I thought it was higher. I thought it was more like 190 or something. I'd have to double check.
And how many of those were Starlink launches?
It was majority, yeah.
But because I'm saying, like, if you exclude Starlink and Rocket Lab this year is launching, let's say 26, and SpaceX commercial launch, like non-Starlink launches was maybe 40, then it's becoming quite comparable. I mean, like, I know the Falcon 9 is a whole different class of rocket and it's way more mass, but I'm just saying, like, cadence wise, it's becoming up there. I think I will check on my numbers and maybe tweet about it later.
But I think so I mean, you think about it as well. Like that would impact potentially the amount of contracts that Electron gets as well from a NASA perspective, and it might mean that they end up favoring something like a Firefly in the short term, right? Because Firefly hasn't necessarily got up to the cadence of which Electron has, but it would be beneficial in the medium term for Neutron, based off the fact that the majority of NASA launches currently happen through the Falcon 9. But at the same time, at some point, the Falcon 9 will probably get pulled back on as Starship begins, and the Starlink V3s have to launch with the Starship and cannot be launched with the Falcon 9. So there might be a kind of a medium to long-term issue associated with the amount that Neutron potentially gets throttled in the medium to long term comparatively, to make sure that not only is a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket able to help provide to the space station, but also a Neutron and maybe even a third party. So, but yeah, in the short term, I think it's short to medium term, I think it's very beneficial, because that means that Neutron might end up getting more contracts because of this.
Do you think, guys, it could be that because of this, like Neutron sells more contracts in the future, so that they're because I think like Electron is a very niche vehicle, right? Like it's only for one satellite and only for like in a certain kilogram range. I mean, okay, you can have rideshare, but it's like 320 kilos and less. And as you pointed out, like you can't do a resupply mission to the space station because it's just not enough kilograms, or you can't fly a human capsule because, again, the Electron is just not enough kilograms. But based on this, like maybe they can start making future commitments that, okay, like we're buying up Neutron contracts, maybe Neutron resupply mission to the space station. Or
just to clarify, this is only NASA, right? This isn't like Space Force, Air Force. Are you able to scroll up a bit there?
Yeah.
NASA, yeah. Okay. So yeah, maybe there's some more missions. I think it should help, but yeah, obviously there's some missions that will have to be Falcon.
Yeah, when I was researching this, I mean, I chose this tweet, but I was like looking at other tweets. Like it did sound like that this is like the intention of the whole U.S. government to like diversify and not have one provider. Yeah. And then
I saw
like one.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just like one tweet was specifically saying that, yeah, like for national security, like even if they awarded contracts to like ULA, like they're not, and the Vulcan, like they're not managing with, like it's only Falcon 9 that is flying, even
no
if
one else can, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like look at what's going on with Vulcan. They won so many contracts and they can't, unfortunately, seem to deliver on it. But I thought it was interesting. The first time I saw this was Jim Bridenstine tweeting out about it and talking about how great this was. And he's, I believe, now lobbying or working for Boeing these days. So I don't know if there's some connection there. I could see Blue lobbying for something like this as well.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. And so one more. Okay, this news I just want to mention. So NASA's Jared Isaacman announced sweeping changes to the Artemis program. They want to greatly speed it up, and he thought that it's a mistake that the Artemis program is jumping to straight landing on the moon. And before, it was like a lot of iterations that they tested the rocket, and then the rocket went around the moon, and then it tried to dock with the lunar lander, and all of these things were different launches. And all of these things increase the cadence, it increases the muscle memory, like you find out where the weak points, you can retire a lot of risks. And it's interesting space news, but doesn't have so much to do with Rocket Lab.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's worth mentioning. I think it's good changes. Jared seems to be starting to make his mark on NASA. When you look at something like this, you look at how he recently handled the Starliner stuff, which is very different than how the previous administrators seem to be handling things, and a lot more transparency and accountability, hopefully.
Yeah. our boy is doing good over there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, there is also a price increase to the Falcon 9. It goes up from 70 million to 74 million a launch, or from 6,000 kilos to 7,000 kilos a ride share. And I just thought that this was interesting because obviously the higher this price goes, the more sexy Neutron is looking. Because remember, what Sir Peter Beck was saying, that the average commercial, like non-Starlink launch on the Falcon 9, I think was 5 tons. And the Falcon 9 flies, I think it was like 20 tons, and the Neutron flies 13 tons. So if you are flying a 5-ton satellite, you're not looking at like, but the Falcon 9, if you're flying 20 tons, the per kilogram price is cheaper. You're looking at like, am I paying 74 million or am I paying 55 million? And I think you will come to the 55 million every time.
Yeah.
And and obviously they are increasing the price because there's demand for it, I guess. So it's looking good for Neutron.
It's just been too long that Falcon has had no competition, and it's just they're certainly never dropping their prices because no one has been pushing them. So hopefully that'll change with Neutron.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hopefully they don't drop the price. They're just like, whatever. Like, it's funny. I'm thinking if they would do what they did with the Falcon 1, that they like developed it and then they just left that market to be taken, like what if they do the same thing, that they develop Starship and then they're like, the medium-sized rocket, whatever, we have bigger fish to fry, we need the space data centers, we need to get to Mars, it's too small for us, we leave that market. That would be a dream scenario.
Maybe. I mean,
they've done it before.
In Elon's mind, eventually Starship will launch for less than Falcon, so I could see it happening.
Yeah. All right. So that was all the news that I had. And then, Dave, you wanted to circle back to the announcement.
Yeah, I just thought the space solar, the new silicon product, was actually kind of like the biggest item from the earnings in terms of new pieces. I thought it was really exciting. I've followed some other kind of up-and-comer companies who have been trying to disrupt space solar and really bring down the cost. And while Rocket Lab is like super good at like the Solaro at high efficiency and handling the radiation in terms of having just a massive scale and being super cheap, it's not really what they've been going to. So it was pretty exciting to see that new product line. But I do kind of wonder if, because I think they've probably been working on this for a while, is the saying it's 4 space data centers almost like a little bit of spin? Because I could see this being useful for a large communications constellation too, or something else. So I do wonder if kind of saying, this is 4 space data centers is kind of trying to tap into the excitement of it going on right now a little bit. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Well, I definitely know that solar's been part of Rocket Lab now for a couple of years, and for people that aren't really following along, the Solaro acquisition that happened in 2021 and kind of implemented in 22, it put a lot of the company has put a lot of items into space, whether it's the James Webb Telescope, whether it's the Mars Perseverance rover. I'm not put into space, rather, but provided solar solutions for those particular projects. And also the Flyer, the helicopter that they launched on Mars itself, was also solar powered by Solaro. The difference is that this is going to be more silicone based versus some of those more complex radio hardened elements rather in some of the other solar panels that have been used. So maybe not necessarily as long lasting, right? Are they only going to have to last 4 to 5 years? So something that's more comparable, I'd say, to what we use on terrestrial solutions here on Earth, rather than the hardened stuff that's supposed to last potentially decades elsewhere. So anyway, it's interesting to kind of see.
Yeah. I definitely also got this, that it's like, okay, the latest buzzword is space data centers, and like they were sitting at the Rocket Lab presentation and like, okay, how can we get this word into the presentation? But at the same time, if you think about Rocket Lab's business model, it has always been, we develop the rockets, and then we develop space systems, and then we will use these two to use new opportunities that come in space, and I feel that they are, they have their eyes open, their ears open, and they're trying to figure out like, okay, we're soon going to have the keys to space with a really low like reusable, really low launch cost, and we have all these space factories, and what can we do with them? So at the same time, it would be weird if there is this huge opportunity in space, which is the space data centers, and then they would have not mentioned it, that by the way, we make solar panels and we can be part of this, guys.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all knew they could be part of it. I guess I just thought it was interesting, they don't have any space-based data center customers yet. And I think it's a great product that could be used for a lot of things. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but I feel they were pretty transparent that this is like, they didn't announce that we're building space data centers for customers. It was like we had talks with some people, and then they asked like, how serious was it? And they're like, they were very beginning talks, and we don't want to. I don't know. I felt it was done to an okay level,
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I always, I'm a huge fan of the company. I always just want to check my bias a little bit, check in with you guys.
Yeah. Check in with other biased people to see if your bias is. Cool. So Francisco is saying here, the other thing is that Kratos announced that they're getting another 1 billion for hypersonics this year, and Rocket Lab should be a subcontractor. So that's amazing news. And the tough thing that I always have with Kratos is that like they have so many other subcontractors other than Rocket Lab, and I have like, this could mean like $2 million more to Rocket Lab, or this could mean like $100 million more to Rocket Lab, and I never know how to think with this.
Yeah, I guess you just kind of think of it like an IDIQ contract, and you never know what kind of value Rocket Lab could potentially capture out of it.
Yeah,
but perhaps a good sign anyway.
Cool. So I think we covered everything, and we did the usual time. Funny how it works out. Is there anything else you guys want to mention or lift from the earnings? And
no, I don't think so.
Yeah. Cool. So we, I guess we're still bullish. Rocket Lab, still a good company, and we're not selling it anytime soon.
Yeah, well, I'd like to get more shares. So if it stays here at the 60s, I'd be happy. Fortunate. I know that means that might mean less money for people in the short term, but I'm holding this for the long term. So in my perspective, as cheap as it can get in the short term, I'd be happy with. I'm not done investing. So
yeah, Dave, we made this joke last when we were on last. I think it was on the earnings, because Matt said the easy money has been made, and he doesn't see how Rocket Lab can 5x. And I said, I see an easy way. We go down to 30, and then we 5x. We 5x from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly volatile. I wouldn't say it's impossible.
Yeah,
I can see a 5x. I don't know what. I don't know if I said 20x or 10x, but
it gets harder as companies get bigger, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's how things scale.
Maybe not within the year like last year. Maybe it will take a bit longer, but yeah, it's still good. And somebody said in the comments that we are wearing shades because the future is so bright, and that's probably true.
Yeah, well, Vince is trying to hide the blue light from the monitor. I'm trying to hide my blue eyes from you guys. So that's really the reason why I'm wearing them.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know why we're wearing it? Because the market has been so red, and then when you wear red glasses, it's like you don't see the red candles. It's just the green candles are left. So it makes you calm, makes you sleep better at night.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, thank you everyone for being here. It was a good show, good earnings, and looking forward to the market craziness next week.
Thanks
See
for
ya.
setting up, Vince.
Thank you guys. Yeah, ciao, ciao.